All right, welcome. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most sprawling, mind-bending theories out there. We're going to piece together a framework that tries to explain, well, pretty much everything about the world we think we know. So let's just jump right in. The whole thing really boils down to this one massive question. And the theory we're digging into today, it gives a pretty wild answer. It suggests that everything we see, everything we touch, might not be the full story. Not even close. So, where do we even start? Well, the first big idea you have to wrap your head around is this. Our physical world, the reality we experience every day, might just be an illusion. It's a crazy thought, but it's one that actually connects ancient spiritual ideas with some really modern, cutting-edge science. To really get this, we've got to go way back to an ancient Gnostic concept called the demiurge. Now, according to this idea, the demiurge isn't the ultimate true god. It's more like a lesser consciousness that built our physical universe as a copy of a much higher, realer reality. Think of it like a spiritual forgery. And this is where things get really interesting, right? You take that ancient Gnostic idea, a false god trapping souls in a physical illusion, and you put it next to a super modern sci-fi idea. It's almost the exact same story as The Matrix, just with an AI overlord trapping our minds in a digital simulation instead. It's the same concept, just with different branding. And this quote, man, this really gets to the core of it all. The theory basically says our five senses are giving us just a tiny, tiny fraction of what's actually out there. The real trap isn't the illusion itself, but the fact that we've been convinced this limited sensory input is the only thing that's real. Okay, so if you're following along, the next question is pretty obvious, right? If this is all some kind of controlled illusion, who's in charge? Who's pulling the strings? Well, the theory we're exploring lays out a very detailed hierarchy of who's supposedly at the wheel. At the top, you've got these so-called prison wardens, a secret global elite. Then you've got the familiar secret societies. But then it goes deeper, a lot deeper. The theory talks about interdimensional beings called archons, who are said to manipulate humanity just to feed off of our negative energy, our fear, our anger, our suffering. And check this out. This quote supposedly comes from an extraterrestrial talking to a government scientist. And it kind of puts our whole situation into a wild perspective. The source says the smell isn't physical, it's a psychic odor. The idea is that our collective negativity, all the fear and hate, is so powerful that it's literally offensive to beings on a higher plane of existence. All right, so how do they do it? I mean, how is this control actually maintained in our day-to-day lives? The theory points to a few really specific tools of manipulation that are designed to keep us right where they want us, distracted and obedient. First and foremost, the number one tool is fear. Plain and simple. If you can keep a population constantly worried about money, about safety, about their future, they become much, much easier to control. People in survival mode don't have time to look up and question the nature of their reality. But it's not just psychological. They say control is also happening on a physical level, through what we eat and drink. We're talking about processed foods that keep us sick and sluggish, and even things like fluoride in the water, which some theorists claim is deliberately used to calcify the pineal gland and cut off our spiritual connection. And of course, there's the stuff we're constantly plugged into, media and entertainment. The argument here is that the news is designed to pump out a steady stream of fear and division, while most entertainment is just there to keep us distracted, to keep our eyes focused on the screen instead of looking within. But in our modern world, maybe the most powerful tool of all is the algorithm. Think about it. It watches everything you do online, builds a scarily accurate profile of you, and then it only feeds you content that it knows will keep you engaged. It reinforces what you already think, trapping you in this little bubble where your own beliefs are just echoed back at you over and over again. And this quote, which is attributed to Mark Zuckerberg, really highlights the problem from the theory's point of view. The goal of these systems was never to find the truth or to unite people. The goal is engagement. It's profit. And what keeps us engaged isn't always what's good for us or for the world. Okay, so this all sounds pretty bleak, right? A system of total control. But this is where the theory shifts, and it actually becomes really empowering. Because if we're in a prison, the next question is, how do we get out? The answer might not be what you think. And here's the big twist. The answer isn't to go out and fight the system. Nope. According to the source, that's a trap. Fighting them just creates more of that negative energy they supposedly feed on. The real way out is to go inward. The only way to change the world is to heal yourself. And this isn't just some vague spiritual idea. It's actually grounded in the science of people like Dr. Bruce Lipton. His work is mind-blowing. It basically shows that our beliefs, our thoughts, are sending signals that physically change our own bodies, right down to the cellular level. This means our consciousness has a direct, measurable impact on our physical reality. So what this all boils down to is a choice, a fundamental choice that each of us has to make every single day. Are we going to live from the ego, which is all about fear and division and reacting to the illusion? Or are we going to live from the soul, which is about compassion, connection, and realizing we have the power to create our reality? So you see where this is going. The whole point is that the real revolution isn't out there. It's in here. It's about taking 100% responsibility for our own consciousness. By choosing compassion over fear, by choosing connection over division, we raise our own vibration, and that is what actually starts to change the world around us. So we're going to leave you with this final thought, this final question from the source. If it's true, if our belief literally shapes our biology, if our consciousness creates our reality, then the power isn't with some shadowy cabal, it's with you. It's with all of us. So the real question isn't who's in control. The real question is, what reality are you going to choose to create?